Everyone, I'm sorry. My original plan was to release a much longer video to conclude this year's 7 Days of Fear, but the evil masterminds at Xbox said, like hell you do, and now my schedule is in chaos. Total chaos. Eh? Hey, at least I am trying, which is more than can be said about this title. Total Chaos sounds like a companion piece to classics such as Absolute Carnage, The Punisher, Warzone, and That Time Spider-Man gave Mary Jane cancer using his radioactive spider sperm. That's a real thing. But comic books are for babies. Real men want Doom, and Doom goes boom. But in the hands of the modding community, it just goes boo and becomes a first-person survival horror. Yep, this was originally a total conversion mod of Doom, which I never got to play because PC gaming and I are like the devil and the holy water. But I just love a good success story. An indie dev releasing a whole game for free as a mod, now getting a chance to give its project a fresh look and also finally making some money out of it? That just warms my heart, man. Or maybe it's the fact I'm staring into a goddamn sun. What is going on with the lights here? This is supposed to be a dark, ransacked, abandoned, grimy town by the sea. Close enough, guys. So why is everything so absurdly lit up? There are lights on top of lights on top of... Guess what? Lighting monsters. I could ignore that, because a big chunk of the game is still much darker and moody. But I can't. I would expect a horror to try and keep a certain mood, you know? If not to build up that foreboding sense of imminent threat, at least so that my PS5 doesn't get fried the instant 2 rays of sun appear on screen. Maybe rooms being lit up like a Christmas tree are actually a meta-narrative tool to express that this game plays all its cards on the table right at the beginning.
And the entire premise is all in the head.
Not 5 minutes pass before the town of Fort Oasis gets haunted by hallucinations and a man at his 5th pack of Marlboro talking about how super duper sad you are.
You've come here to find something. I believe it is something we have both desired for a long time.
It doesn't take a genius to understand where this is going, but the thing is, not only the story works, but I deeply respect it. So many horror games wait until the end before revealing that the whole story was actually all in the head of the protagonist, or a metaphorical journey where they face their sins or sense of guilt. And nothing against that on paper, but most games do a pathetic job at hiding this supposed plot twist, and they end up sounding like a pretentious nerd who needs to point out the subtext of a story when said subtext is as thin as a double Big Mac, or a blooper game for short. Total Chaos cuts through all that right off the bat. When you see useless painted in capital letters on a random wall, it becomes pretty clear this is all an allegory of sort. Either that or Fort Oasis needs to invest in an HR department. Oh wait, there are spider monsters? Okay, they need to hire a new HR department. Since it's not trying to hide its more oniric side, Total Chaos repeatedly switches between dusty industrial settings and the fleshy goo-goo tunnels full of screaming zombies, but the art direction is cohesive, focused, precise. It doesn't feel like a haunted house attraction where every room is furnished in accord to whatever horror cliché the dev might have thought of that morning. And the end result is very good. I don't need ray-traced, quadruple-rendered, AI super-sampled grass textures to stop and admire the ramshackle buildings and the desolate streets of the town. I would spend hours just exploring them and soaking in the atmosphere, but this game will not let you do it.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Forget about your slow-burning, cinematic, spooky experiences. This is the Sonic of horror games. You move fast, you hit faster, and you die faster. Air. Step aside, young teenager with a complex backstory and deep unresolved trauma whose story tackles the damage done by a heavily patriarchal society. Real men shapeshift into a separate reality when they dodge, and they do it with a big shotgun in hand and a Spotify playlist of the greatest beats of the early 2000s. Okay, that's enough. This is still a survival horror. You only get 10 bullet stops, so make them count. But of course, This is an indie horror game, so naturally we just need to have crafting. So bask in the glory of a vast assortment of spiky beds and shifts that would make you the golden boy in any Birmingham pub. We have the Moria Special, Freddy's Colonoscopy Road, and my personal favorite, a dead cat inside a bag. And I'm stopping at that because, quite frankly, there's way too much stuff you can craft. Look at this! Look at it! This is not even the full list! But don't feel overwhelmed, because it doesn't take long before you realize 80% of them have all the same stats. Yeah, the crafting is a bit overstaffed and half-baked, but you won't have the time to dwell on it for too long, because every second counts. My boy is hungry. Once your tummy starts huffing and puffing, your stamina will drop until you won't be able to hit even a baby, which you need to do, by the way. And if you can't fight efficiently, you'll soon get your skull broken by Captain McCall of Duty over here and his pitch-perfect, pitch. And when that inevitably happens, the real horror begins. See that teensy weeny icon down there? That doesn't indicate you need to pee. This isn't a Hideo Kojima game. That means you're spilling your guts all over the floor. The instant this pops up, all your health will start inexorably draining, and if you're out of bandages, good luck, fucker. So, on top of that big burger-shaped sword of Damocles hanging over your head, you have to make sure you're not attracting every vampire this side of Twilight with all the hemoglobin you'll start spilling. And the enemies will not relent at any point.
Run.
And one mistake makes the difference between completing a puzzle and getting gangbanged by a bunch of disco balls. The moment-to-moment gameplay leans into this tense and suffocating feeling rather than trying to be flat-out spooky. In fact, this game is really not that scary in general. And that's the fastest I've been proven wrong.
Oh, no, what did you do? Sit down. Sit. Yeah. Oh. Okay, just let me grab it, okay? Don't disturb. No.
Yeah, some of these monsters are just freakish. Sure, these little blue aliens are cute. I can't be scared of something cute. I said I'm not scared, I didn't say they don't obliterate me out of existence. But then you enter this level, and suddenly you're welcomed by vagina-faced tank bastard, and shivers go down your spine. The same spine that will be separated from the rest of your body if he manages to even sneeze in your general direction.
Emotional, damn it!
You can really tell a lot of time was spent in crafting unique enemies, each requiring a vastly different strategy to defeat them, and I have nothing but praise for that. That doesn't mean I'm going to ignore the moments where the game throws out of the window the frantic close quarters combat just so you can play hide and seek with the poster child of a pro-life organization. But I can't hate this game for trying. Every level has its own distinctive set pieces, so the couple of times they stumble become a brief minor flaw I quickly forgot about anyway. So you know what? I had a really good time with Total Chaos.
I love it!
And I'm already working on hating it by playing it at its hardest difficulty, because I'm allergic to positive thoughts. My only real worry is that if this game ends up being successful, the AAA industry will do what it does best, imitating mechanics while making them 100 times worse. So I'm fully expecting a big budget action horror game featuring the same crafting system, but way more overbearing. Flashy, eye-popping visuals, but without a clear art direction. And escalating fights where the odds are increasingly stacked against you, but without an underlying resource management that keeps them engaging. Huh. Good news, Dead Space fans! You guys are getting a remake of the third game soon.